These robbers came with gutsy spirits and went back scrambling away in panic. They had no idea what was coming for them. And you wouldn't be able to guess either. So without any further ado, let's run down on what these thieves were up against.
A would-be thief broke into an Omaha jewelry store around 11:30 Saturday night.
Number 1, the sword chaser. A bunch of crooks crashed into a store and brought the entrance to rubble. The thieves then raided the store, trying to smash down the shelves, but their efforts weren't quite getting them the loot they wanted. So, while the knuckleheads tried to figure out how to grab the jewels, the owner was preparing for battle. The guy went to the back, armed himself with a sword, and came racing after the crooks. The thieves started scrambling in panic, seeing the crazy owner running after them. The owner turned the tables on the smash and grabbed crooks, beating down on their car as they tried to flee. Number 2, hit by a surprise. A thief in the middle of the road was trying to snatch a woman's purse, but he didn't know karma was on his tail. This guy riding a motorbike saw the pesky thief wrestling with the purse and wasted no time in crashing into him. The thief was thrown onto the road, panic drooping down his face. He stumbled as he got up to run. The motorcyclist chased after him, blocking his path. The thief now was at the center of attention, and he knew. So he left the bag behind and fled on foot. Poor guy never saw it coming. Number 3, trapped inside. This guy spent a lot of time smashing down the glass counter at the bank with a sledgehammer. He did manage to make a hole to sneak inside, but didn't know he had dug a much deeper hole for himself. The manager had locked the cash inside the safe when she saw the guy banging on the glass. While the crook looked here and there to find some money, a crowd gathered on the other side of the counter. They all trapped the robber inside while the cops came down to arrest the guy trapped inside. Number 4, the 3 unlucky rounds. This pickup truck looks pretty tough, but it is about to fail against a boring door. The crooks tried to plow through a store using a stolen truck, but their plan failed miserably. So, they went around a second time and then another, adjusting their speed in the next couple of rounds. But the result was sadly the same. The crooks were so shocked that the 6 of them tried to see if there was any gap that they could sneak in from. But the door hadn't even budged. They stuffed themselves inside the truck and bolted the scene. Number 5, the stakeout. The biggest mistake of these crooks was using the same car for their heists. Too bad the cops caught on their scent when they were on their next hunt. The driver went to assess the store first. He went back to the car and brought 2 more men with him down to the Karma jail. The men were seen stuffing their bags with perfumes, having no clue the store had set off a silent alarm. The cops raided the store and chased down the robbers, placing them under a quick arrest. Number 6, the dumb boys. This owner did a pretty good job setting up the glass door. The crook came in an SUV and plowed it against the entrance. The crash worked in, smashing down the glass, but it just wasn't enough. The guy tried to grab a bottle from the small gap, but ended up failing pretty badly. So he hopped back on his ride and fled. Number 7, in and out. These guys wore masks and brought sledgehammers. On paper, they could have raided the store. But there was one big problem. Karma was on their tail. The men barged inside the store and walked back out without smashing a single shelf. The reason? The owner had pulled out the gun. He didn't even have to use it. One look at the gun sent them toppling over one another as they tried to run. Number 8, shut her down. 2 masked men dropped by this store and thought that they could steal from the outside. But they had highly underestimated the store owner. The crook started smashing the glass while the other stood by his side to fill up the bags. But their genius plan failed when the owner dropped the shutter on them, almost choking them. The crooks fled before they could be trapped, but with a small loot in their bags. Number 9, chased away. A group walked inside the store ready to pull off their grand heist. One of them brought down the guard, using pepper spray. The others started smashing the glass off the shelves. But the store owner pulled up to his hero mode and threw a chair at the crooks. That's when the workers got riled up and surrounded the crooks. The robbers fled with the crowd chasing after them while the guard looked dumbly back at the chaos. Number 11, the battleground. This stolen pickup truck didn't quite do its job on the first try. The crooks looked around for a gap to slide through, but they couldn't find a gap. So the truck sped up and then pulled back at the entrance again, plowing through the glass door this time. But their mistake gave enough time to the store owner to pull up his defense. As the crooks tried to sneak into the store, they were met with open fire from the owner. The robbers scurried away in a hurry and bolted the scene. Number 12, rock-hard defense. This car is enough defense against those pesky smash and grab thieves. A group came carrying bats to smash down the window and rob the owner, but they couldn't even put a scratch on that glass. The car paced forward, and the robbers sprinted in the opposite direction with visible panic on their faces. Number 13, met with the cops. A few thieves had sneaked their way inside the store. They must have somehow overtaken the employees, but they were smart. They sent a silent alarm to the cops while the crooks raided the store. When the cops came, the crooks were busy smashing down the shelves. The cops raced after them, and one of the crooks even dared to start a brawl with the officer. All of them were arrested, so their gutsy spirit pretty much went down in vain. Number 14, smashing for an escape. Two men barged inside the store, intending to steal good loot. One of them pepper sprayed the owner and the customer, while the other smashed the shelves to dust. While the two were busy raiding the shelves, the owner locked the door and fired at them. That sent the crooks into a state of panic. The crook smashed the front door with the hammer and fled, barely escaping. Number 15, the shatterproof glass. Sometimes you need to let the store handle its defense. A group of 7 crooks rushed inside the store carrying hammers and pepper spray. While some of them kept the workers at bay, the others tried to tear the shelves apart. But no matter how much they pounded on the glass, it just wouldn't break. Number 16, the hasty escape. This guy came alone to get the job done, but his tough act was no match against this old man. The crook barged inside the store and pounded on the shelf once. The store owner came rushing towards the crook and shoved him hard. The crook tried to attack, but left when he saw the crowd coming to the store. Number 17, the brazen attempt. A group of crooks had a genius plan underway, or so they thought. The masked men hooked up a chain to the store's entrance and tied it up with their SUV. The car paced forward, leaving not even a dent in the door. The crooks tried again, but their luck just wasn't with them. Karma was tough. The owner had done a pretty good job, so the men went back into their clown car and escaped the scene. Number 18, struck by your own. These knuckleheads went on a grand mission to pull off a heist and ended up getting embarrassed on the internet. The men used a stolen truck to slam on the store's entrance. They managed to bring down the wall of defense, but ended up hitting one of their own. A crook had sneaked his way inside the store when the truck kept pushing back into the entrance. The crook inside tried to find his balance with the rubble dropping down on him when another plow came, throwing him on the floor. He was swept off his feet a couple of times, giving him instant blows of karma. Number 19, the Grandpa Power. This Irish establishment was almost empty when a bunch of crooks barged in through the front entrance. They thought that they could take down the 2 old men, but boy oh boy were they wrong. The crooks raided the place, only to be single-handedly thrown out the exit by an old man. The super grandpa wrestled down one man and shoved the others. The thieves tried to show him the gun, but that only made the old man more angry. The crooks got so scared that they walked out themselves. The old man then came again for the one crook trapped inside and threw him out too. Number 20. The young boy's attempt. This beggar on the sidewalk thought of pulling off a smash and grab, but the odds weren't in his favor. The young boy banged loudly on the window, but the car sped up in response to escape the boy's sudden attack. The driver behind rammed on the horn, startling the kids. That's when they tried to cover their feeble attempts, but they were already caught on camera. Number 21. Fast and Furious. This might look like a scene from a Hollywood movie, but I guess this clip got thrown into the unused audition tapes. 3 men on a motorbike raced towards a truck, stopping inches before its door. One crook from the middle hopped out, broke the lock open, and handed back the bolt cutter to his friend. Then, the bonehead jumped up on the motorcycle and climbed on the truck's back door. While doing so, he somehow kicked the motorcycle. The vehicle flipped over, sending the 2 crooks down on the road, blowing away at a blazing speed. The crook gave one look at the mess he made and thought it was best to put a halt to their grand scheme. The man dropped back down on the high-speed road, flying away to God knows where. Number 22. The armored defense. A crook was waiting on the side to pull off a solo hunt on this armored truck parked among a fleet of cars. But when the guard came, the crook fell short on his defense. He raced towards the guard, but ended up running away within seconds. The guard had a gun handy, and he didn't shy away from using it. Number 23. Wrong store to rob. These guys thrashed their car in an attempt to rob this store, but got nothing in return. The crooks smashed down the entrance, throwing shards of glass everywhere, but they couldn't get the ATM to move. They tried another time, but their efforts proved futile again and again. The crooks left with a pretty battered car out the exit. Number 24. Knife in a gunfight. This guy was pacing outside the store. With the small courage he mustered, the guy ended up facing a pretty tough store owner. He walked inside, carrying his hatchet, thinking it would scare off any man. But not this store owner. He showed his hatchet to the store owner, who pulled out his gun in response. The two shared the longest look, but then the crook waved the white flag. He put his weapon on the counter and raised his hands in the air. The owner was calling the cops, but the crook didn't want to wait around for that. He bolted out of the exit as soon as he got the chance. Number 25. The quickest attempted robbery.
A would-be thief broke into an Omaha jewelry store around 11:30 Saturday night.
A crook threw a brick inside this store to crack a gap open. It gave enough space for the crook to enter, but the noise alerted the worker sitting in the back. The crook probably thought no one was inside. While he was busy searching for the jewels to grab, the worker came running from the back with a gun in his hands. He didn't even have to use it, and the crook was already on his way out from where he came. Number 26. Running tape of buffoonery. This is probably one of the funniest clips you'll see today. This guy comes in, threatening the worker to give him cash. The employee told him to go to the other side if he wanted cash. The bonehead obliged. He probably realized halfway through he should have the upper hand, so he hopped over the counter to make the worker hurry up, but she threw him down. The guy sat back again like a toddler who was scolded. The worker caved in and gave him a shopper and the cash so he could get busy. Her plan worked because the greedy robber got so distracted with the cash that he left his gun on the counter unattended. The worker snatched the gun, and that was enough to send the robber running out the exit. But then, the knucklehead came again, asking for the gun. All the worker had to do was point the gun at him, and he was off running. I bet he thought to himself if he should drop by again. Number 27. The banana attack. This crook barged inside the store, pretending to be a shopper. As soon as he got to the counter, he tried to snatch the cash on the other side. The store owner pulled out bananas and smacked the robber with her friend's help. The robber tried to wrestle, but it went in vain. He ran out the door with bananas trailing after him. Number 28. 3 people, 2 brain cells. These guys used a car to smash down the glass entrance. Their plan worked, but the trio couldn't get the ATM to move an inch. So they thought they would smash the machine down too. The crooks made one more power move against the ATM, crashing inside the store this time. But that plan failed more miserably than their last one. They could neither move the ATM nor their car out the exit. Somehow, the boneheads slid through the small gap out the door and bolted the scene in the other car. Number 29. Failed robber gets arrested. This crook walked into the bookies club with a garden shear in his hands. He tried smashing the glass with a brick and then a chair, but nothing worked. So he slid through the small gap to steal the coins. But as he was fleeing, the dumbhead dropped a few of those coins on the floor. The store owner alerted the cops, and they found him next door. The guy got arrested and, embarrassed, live on the same day. Number 30. The Dumb Boys. A couple of young boys walked into a jewelry store, pretending to be interested in buying. As the owner showed them the jewels, one of the crooks pulled out his gun, holding the owner at bay. But this rusty attempt didn't get them much farther because the other crook couldn't find a way to smash down the shelves. Using that sweet time, the owner went in the back and came back with a shotgun. The sight alone was enough for the boys to halt their grand heist. They ran out the door with their feet backward. Number 31. The Futile Offense. These men walked into the store late at night. The trio saw the camera and pulled the masks up closer to their faces. They tried to hammer down on the shelves, but the glass wouldn't budge against their attacks. The trio looked around for anything to grab and take, but it was no use. The crooks left empty-handed. Number 32. Taste of your own medicine. This guy might have gotten away with his smash and grab, but he ended up getting chased by karma. The man smashed the entrance and walked out, stealing a few dollar bills from the cash register. But when he had parked his bike out of the store to sneak inside the entrance, a wandering explorer had found his bike parked unattended. The man grabbed it and drove it out of the small alley. The man pulled a theft and got robbed, all in a matter of a few minutes. Number 33. The solid defense. Sometimes all an owner needs to do is put up a solid barrier at the entrance, and the crooks will spend hours trying to break it down. These guys used a car to break the entrance. When that didn't work, one of the crooks hopped out to use a hammer. They spent a good amount of time trying to split the door open, but it was no use. The crooks packed themselves in the 2 cars and went their way back from where they came. Number 34. Quick thinking. A white car filled with crooks stopped in the middle of the road to attempt a smash and grab theft. But the cars behind caught up on their feeble act so fast that the crooks couldn't even grasp what had happened. One driver took a massive turn and pushed his car back on the road in the opposite direction, while the other driver swerved through the small gap and sped away. The crooks were left baffled, staring back at each other dumbly before fleeing away. That's all on today's video. Which of these foiled robberies was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Show us some love and hit the like button if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. We have a lot more coming in, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, folks. Goodbye.